I'm Laura Marston, also known as Liz, and I had the privilege of serving as chair of the Renton. It's been an honour to open our very first annual impact project. Thank you so much for being here today. Whether you're a patient, a carer, a loved one, a clinician, a researcher, or an ally, you are part of the Renton community, and we're so glad to have you with us. This event and this community are close to my heart. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2019, and I remember the isolation I felt when going through my experience and how that changed once I got involved with clinical with around 12 other patients from around the world. Little did we know how our lives had changed. So today is about celebrating how far we've come and boldly stepping into what's next. Our theme, Unmuted, speaks for something deep in all of us. It's about finding our voice again. Before we go any further, I want to take a moment to acknowledge those in our community who can't be here today, whether because of illness, treatment, or because of suffering. We tell them here with us in spirit, and we honor their stories, their courage, and their impact. Now, what can you expect today? We'll be hearing from our wonderful CEO and founder, Barbara, as well as our treasurer, Hannah, who will take us through some of the incredible work that they've done over the past year. We'll also be recognising some of the special people with awards that reflected the heart and spirit of our community. And then, something big. Barbara will be unveiling two bold, exciting new projects launching today. Project aims not only at improving the well-being of young people going through cancer right now, but also changing the outcomes for the next generation. We will encourage you to get involved as we go. We will have a question and answer section after set questions, so make sure you put your questions in the chat as we go along. Before we dive in, I want to shine a spotlight on the incredible team behind Renton. Many of you already know Barbara. It's a flawed nature who brought us all together. What began as a personal mission has grown under her leadership into a thriving global charity organisation that's continuing to grow and evolve. But Barbara isn't doing this alone. They're also supported by an amazing board of trustees, people who are passionate, experienced, and deeply committed to helping guide and support our mission. So for the day, we're delighted to share a short message from our trustees, followed by a welcome from our founder and CEO, Barbara. Thank you once again for being a part of our community. Let's hit unmute together.
Hi, I'm Susan Smith.
My name is Hannah Thorpe.
I'm Laura, also known as Dave.
My name's Jake.
I'm Kate. I'm a trustee of the Young Tongues.
I was diagnosed with tongue cancer in 2019. I was 39 years old.
I was diagnosed with tongue cancer at the age of 45.
I'm an ear, nose and throat surgeon, and I frequently treat patients with tongue cancer.
I was diagnosed with tongue cancer 5 years ago, age 41.
I was diagnosed with tongue cancer when I was 28 years old, and trying to navigate life as a young adult after tongue cancer was difficult and lonely until I was introduced to the Young Tongues.
I wanted to be involved with Young Tongues because I wanted to talk to people who were a similar age to me, who had been diagnosed with the same cancer.
I wanted to be a part of the Young Tongues because, like you, I was desperate to find people who understood what it was like to have tongue cancer and what those challenges would be like every single day.
I wanted to be involved with the Young Tongues in order to broaden my understanding of the population who I treat, but also to increase the awareness of it affecting more and more young people.
I hope in future to make us more accessible to people all over the world, including non-English speakers. I think Young Tongues would be well placed to advocate for what really matters to us as patients before, during and, importantly, after our treatment.
My hope for the future is for Young Tongues to be signposted in head and neck cancer clinics all across the globe to help us continue to provide assistance to those that need it.
My hope for the future of the Young Tongues cancer community is that head and neck cancer medical professionals see us and hear us and work with us to create treatment pathways that will allow us all to live a long and comfortable life.
I hope the future of Young Tongues grows to provide support to newly diagnosed patients and those going through treatment, to help them not only feel like there's hope for the future, but to learn from each other and understand what possible paths they could take within their journey.
I would also like to see more research come from the growth of our group to help us understand why cases of tongue cancer are rising within the population, even with few or no risk factors. I would like to see the medical field learning what more could be done to reduce risk, ensure earlier diagnosis, and improve quality of life outcomes following surgery and treatment.
My hopes for the future of Young Tongues is to support its growth, but also to ensure that scientifically robust information is available without the distraction of less reliable materials.
Tongue cancer has such an impact on physical, mental and social well-being. A dedicated support network such as Young Tongues is an integral part of recovery, and we are capable of making great change in this area.
I see Young Tongues playing a pivotal role in shaping the future for young tongue cancer patients.
Young Tongues is really here for its community, and there's so much passion that goes into the engine behind the scenes. It's a highly exciting and extremely inspiring network to be involved with.
Hello and welcome. My name is Barbara Fountain and I am the founder and CEO of the Young Tongues. I am absolutely delighted to have you join us today for our first annual Impact event and our event on Mute. So whether you're joining us live or catching the replay, thank you for being here. In 2021, 2 years after my own tongue cancer diagnosis, people called me brave, a warrior, an inspiration. And I smiled on the outside, but inside I felt completely lost. It wasn't the why me, it was more the why this cancer, the one that no one knew about, the one tied to stereotypes that didn't fit me. I felt isolated, stuck between the person I was before the diagnosis and the person I was meant to become. So when treatment ended, so did the support. What I needed was inspiration. It was understanding. So I reached out to a few Young Tongues patients I'd found on Instagram. We got on a Zoom, shared stories, compared scars, and made each other feel seen. That night at 4 a.m., I woke up with an idea. I bought a domain, set up social media accounts, and messaged those same people with 2 words, Young Tongues. Since then, we've grown from a late night idea into a global community. Last year, we became a registered charity, and today Young Tongues is connecting patients, caregivers, and professionals around the world, raising awareness, unmuting our stories, and shaping the future of young tongue cancer patients. Let's take a look at what we've achieved in our first year. As Young Tongues grew, we quickly saw that support isn't a one-size-fits-all. People needed spaces where they could connect with others who truly understood their journey, whether as a patient, a partner, a parent, or someone living with chronic cancer. Today, I'm proud to share the 3 core support groups at the heart of our community. First, the Young Tongues patient group, our original and largest group. For anyone aged 18 to 64 diagnosed with tongue cancer, it's where stories are shared, questions asked, and solidarity found. Second, the supporters group. For carers, loved ones, and friends. This group is a safe place to talk about the realities of supporting someone through treatment, recovery, and beyond. And finally, the Young Tongues Lifers, for those living with chronic cancer. It's a newer group focused on navigating long-term uncertainty together. One of the most powerful things we witness over the years in the strength of the community is not just in numbers, but it's in connections. We've now grown the community to over 800 patients. That alone is something we're incredibly proud of, but the real story lies how we've shown up for each other. So in our main group, we have had 1,453 posts that were made over the last year by young tongues asking questions, seeking advice, or simply reaching out on a hard day. And the community answered with 16,757 comments. What's important to recognize and what's often overlooked when we talk about the patient experience is that the ability to ask for help is as powerful as the ability to offer help. Both are expressions of strength, both are essential to healing, both create space for us to process trauma, redefine ourselves, and feel less alone. Last year, we hosted 10 virtual meetups, safe, welcoming spaces where young tongues from around the world can connect. We also held 2 in-person meetups in London and Kansas. The face-to-face moments are always special. As Rachel, who organised the Kansas gathering, put it, it's always nice to meet people who really understand. We compared scars, shared our journeys, and even talked skincare. Now, you might be wondering, just 2? That's because as a newly registered charity, we spent much of the year getting the right insurances and safeguarding policies in place. We wanted to be sure we could offer these experiences safely and responsibly. But now that the groundwork is done, we're thrilled to say that we are having many more in-person events this year in the UK, USA, Canada, and Switzerland. And we're hopeful to get many more locations. Another place where we truly found our voice, quite literally, is through the Young Tongues podcast, which I co-host alongside my brilliant co-host, Jamie Powell. We've now recorded 50 episodes and have become a powerful platform for storytelling, connection, and advocacy. Last year, we launched Series 2, featuring an incredible lineup of fellow young tongues, sharing their personal stories alongside clinician experts and researchers who help us better understand what we're going through. It's been amazing to see how far our voices have travelled, with over 4,426 downloads across 30 countries. So far, you've seen how we support each other, but Young Tongues has always aimed higher. Our mission is to make sure the real experiences of young tongue cancer patients shape everything from diagnosis and care to research and policy. We're guided by 4 key principles: diagnose sooner, push for earlier recognition and referral in young patients, support smarter, offer care and peer support tailored to young adults, change the system, influence policy and practice to better serve our community, and lead with lived experience, putting patient voice at the heart of research. Now let's have a look how we've been putting these principles into action. So, diagnose sooner. For many of us, the hardest part wasn't just treatment, it was actually getting someone to take our symptoms seriously. We're often told we're too young, too stressed, or just biting our tongue. But by the time we get referred, months can pass and the cancer has often advanced. That's why we're focusing on raising awareness for dentists and GPs. We shared our message on the Eastman's Dental podcast and in the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh magazine. We also reached out to 26 UK dental bodies introducing the young tongues and exploring ways to reach thousands of dental professionals. At every opportunity, whether with clinicians, researchers, or policymakers, we've shared not just one voice, but the wide range of experience across our community. In our second principle, support smarter, we're looking at it because it's not just about treating cancer, it's about treating the whole person. So young adults face this disease whilst also juggling careers, relationships, parenting, fertility, and mental health. Yet too often we're placed in a system that's actually designed for a much older patient population. And we work to make those needs heard. So we shared the Young Tongue story at ECNO 2025 in Amsterdam, alongside the Make Sense campaign, placing our voice at the heart of Europe's largest head and neck oncology event. We also spoke at BISM and led a CPD webinar for the British Association for Dental Therapists, giving professionals real insight into what young patients experience also after treatment ends. And we took it further, personally reaching out to over 50 clinicians across 4 continents, starting direct conversations about age-appropriate care. Our third guiding principle is change the system, because real change doesn't happen in clinics or support groups. It happens in policy rooms, government briefings, and national strategy documents. Young people with tongue cancer are too often left out of the national conversation. Our experiences dismissed as rare, our voices unheard. We joined key national coalitions, including the Head and Neck Cancer Coalition, Cancer 52, and One Cancer Voice, groups working to unite the cancer community and push for bold, lasting policy change. These partnerships have allowed us to contribute to larger campaigns, whilst making sure the distinct needs of young tongue cancer patients are also not lost. We also submitted formal responses to 2 major UK government consultations, the NHS 10-year plan and the National Cancer Plan. Our fourth principle is lead with lived experience. We believe patients shouldn't follow research, they should lead it. When we're involved from the start, priorities shift, funding improves, and outcomes become more meaningful. We became co-applicants on 2 new diagnostic studies and supported a personal medicine grant led by the Garvan Institute in Australia, ensuring real patient insight shaped their work. We also contributed £1,000 to help launch the National Head and Neck Cancer Audit Feasibility Study. And we've developed our first global patient data strategy, laying the groundwork for ethical, inclusive, and truly patient-led research. More updates on that a bit later. In short, Young Tongues isn't just a support group. We're a community that keeps showing up unmuted. Before we move on, I want to thank the people who've made this journey possible. To our amazing trustees, thank you for believing in this vision and standing by me through every twist and turn. To our brilliant secretaries, Natalie and Kerry, your calm, consistent work behind the scenes keeps everything running smoothly. To my podcast co-host, Jamie, thank you for your honesty, humour, and 5 a.m. recordings at your time. You've helped create something truly special. The clinicians, the researchers, and charity leaders, thank you for your time, guidance, and generosity. And to my husband, Nick, thank you for believing in this mission as much as I do. Your support means everything. And most of all, to every member of the Young Tongues community, thank you. Your kindness, compassion, and strength are the heart of everything we do. You remind me every day why this matters. Now let's hear from some of these incredible individuals in their own voice and their own words.
Hello, my name is Vicky Harris. I was 37 when I was diagnosed with SCC, cancer at the base of my tongue.
Hello, my name is Anne-Marie Wilkerson and I live in Texas. 2.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma.
Hi, my name is Katrina. I was diagnosed with tongue cancer in the summer of 2021.
Hi, I'm Mush. Tongue cancer is one of the most brutal types of cancer. It can affect the speech, as you can tell. The structure from the face with swelling after the surgery, not to mention side effects from radiotherapy, like sore throats, ulcers, constant coughing, dry mouth, but then at the same time having to combat thick, shitty mucus and not being able to speak. So when you learn through all that and we're seeing people and meeting people who are months, years and even decades from their treatment and diagnosis, and they're telling you sits with it, things will get better. Sometimes that's what we want to hear, and that is why Young Tongues is so important.
I joined that group because I needed hope, and then by sharing my story, I was able to give hope to others, and that's really important to me.
When I was diagnosed, it was so hard to find someone who could understand and relate, because most people are much older.
You know, when I first got out of surgery and I went home to recover, I didn't have a support group like this, you know, and I see the benefits of it. I really do. Nobody's going to be able to answer the questions like we are.
Most importantly, I also think education, not just to the public, but to the doctors. I know with my journey, it was hard, because many people wrote me off, even with an actual diagnosis of cancer. I was told I was too young. It didn't make sense. But sure enough, I finally found the right doctor. So I think the education to that profession is so important. I hope that they understand and can start to see that cancer is coming from younger people.
I often say to people who join the group, I'm so sorry that you're here, but I'm so glad that you found us, because you're in good hands.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hannah Thorpe, Treasurer of Young Tongues, and I'm delighted to share our first ever year-end financial story. It's a short one, but I promise it's powerful. We're incredibly proud to share that in our first full year as a registered charity, Young Tongues raised £41,953.51. Our total expenditure for the year was £25,987.10. It's important to note that this figure doesn't reflect the full scope of the charity's operational needs, as our CEO and founder Barbara only transitioned to working freelance on the project in the summer of 2024. This meant our costs remained relatively low in the early part of the year. The result is an underspend that leaves us with a healthy £15,966 in reserves. This is a strong starting point for a new organisation and one we intend to build on. We're currently in the process of developing a formal reserves policy with the aim of holding at least one full year's worth of core expenditure. This will help safeguard the charity's future and ensure that we can continue supporting young people through tongue cancer, even in the face of global events or unexpected challenges like those seen during the COVID-19 pandemic. Over 60% of the funds we raised came directly from people like you, hosting bake sales, running marathons, or even asking for donations in place of birthday gifts. Our community truly puts its money where its mouth is, quite literally unmuting hope. We were also fortunate to receive a £15,000 grant from Oracle Head and Neck Cancer UK, with an additional £5,000 awarded in the following financial year. This vital seed funding was specifically designed to help us professionalise our operations as a newly registered charity. It allowed us to offer Barbara a part-time freelance salary, freeing her from the need to seek other employment and giving her the space to focus fully on building and growing Young Tongues from the ground up. Our total expenditure for the last financial year was £25,987.10. As mentioned earlier, this doesn't reflect the full scale of the charity's operational needs, given that we were still in a startup phase. We've broken this spending down to show where the money went and how it supports our mission. Some costs are relatively low, like affordable monthly tech subscriptions that help us work efficiently and deliver a high volume of activity with what essentially currently is a one-woman team. At the same time, we made strategic investments such as implementing a robust CRM system. This ensures accurate record keeping and will help us develop more targeted and impactful communications in the future. We've also incurred essential compliance costs such as registering with the Information Commissioner's Office under GDPR to ensure your data is stored and managed securely and lawfully. Importantly, we also made a one-off grant to support the Head and Neck Cancer Audit Feasibility Study, which is advocating for NHS England to reinstate a national head and neck cancer audit, something that hasn't been conducted in over a decade. Through this contribution, Young Tongues now has a seat at the table in shaping future data collection and ensuring that the unique needs of young people with tongue cancer are finally recognised and represented. So where are we heading next? Our CEO and founder, Barbara, has led the creation of our 2025-2026 budget, which runs from April this year to March next year. This new budget builds on the solid foundation we've laid and reflects a pivotal moment for us, one where we shift from surviving to strategically sustaining and strengthening the Young Tongues. This year's budget allows us to continue delivering the core services you've come to expect: peer support, community engagement, and advocacy work. But we're not just maintaining, we're also making smart, modest improvements. Increased investment in fundraising so we can grow our income, not just rely on it. Upgrading our basic website, making it more accessible, informative and supportive for new and existing community members. Laying the groundwork for long-term sustainability by building better digital infrastructure and strengthening how we tell our story to funders and supporters. As Young Tongues grows, so do our responsibilities, and some costs are now simply unavoidable. We've outgrown the DIY approach, so this year we've budgeted for professional accountancy support, ensuring we meet our legal and reporting obligations with accuracy and confidence. Several of the free trials, discounts and donated tools we benefited from in our first year have now expired, so we're budgeting for the real-world cost of running the systems that keep us operating efficiently and securely. To cover all of this, just our basic operations with no added funding for new projects or growth, Barbara has set an ambitious but necessary fundraising target of £60,000 for this financial year. That figure represents the real cost of doing this work properly, transparently and sustainably. This ensures we can keep showing up for young people affected by tongue cancer without compromising the quality or reach of what we offer. We know it's a big number, but this is a big cause, and with a passionate community behind us, we're confident that together we can rise to meet it. To meet our £60,000 fundraising goal for this year, we need to be honest. We can't do it alone. We've budgeted carefully, and every pound has a purpose, but reaching that target will take all of us, so we invite you to start thinking now. How might you help us get there? Could you host a quiz night, run a fundraiser at work, pledge your birthday? Every action counts, because every pound raised reflects a voice unmuted, a story told, a mile run, a cake baked, a grant won. Thank you for trusting us with your generosity. Together, we're not just balancing the books, we're tipping the scales towards better outcomes for every young person facing tongue cancer. Now I'll hand you over to Barbara and Susan, who will be answering some of the thoughtful questions that you've shared with us in the chat. Thank you.
It wouldn't be Unmuted without celebrating the incredible people who make this all possible. And today we'll be handing out a few small but very heartfelt awards to recognise those who've gone above and beyond for our community. And we're starting with a vital category: fundraising. Seeing as we've just spoken about with all the money, we might as well continue. The truth is, without fundraisers, Young Tongues wouldn't exist. We receive no core government funding. We don't have any wealthy benefactors. Everything we do, from podcasts to meetup, is made possible by people who run, bake, swim, walk, and give. Let's begin. We've got 3 awards I'm going to give out in this section, but let's begin with the Solo Fundraiser of the Year. This award goes to someone who not only took on an epic physical challenge, but did so with a deep personal meaning and love in her heart. The Solo Fundraiser of the Year award goes to the fabulous Lucy Mills-Barton, who walked 100 kilometres through the night in 24 hours along the south coast of England. Lucy did this incredible challenge in memory of her sister-in-law, Karen, who was also a member of the Young Tongues. Lucy's campaign raised a truly amazing £2,250 and, just as importantly, helped raise awareness of young people affected by tongue cancer. To mark the occasion, Lucy has sent us a little video, so let me just share that with you.
Hi everyone, Lucy here, and this is Reg. I'd just like to start by thanking Young Tongues so much for choosing me for the Solo Fundraiser of the Year award. What an amazing achievement, it really is. The Ultra Challenge itself was a grueling and emotional experience, but so worth it. After talking to Karen about wanting to give back to the Young Tongues community that helped her in so many different ways, and more so than even we could, I'm so grateful that I was able to help and make a difference. Also, massive shout out to Barbara for the encouragement throughout the whole of the challenge. Keep up the incredible work you do, because it truly does make a difference. It's a real honour, and it means the absolute world to me to be accepting this award. And Karen would be so proud, so proud. Continue on her legacy. She'd be absolutely buzzing. I hope you all enjoy the celebrations today. You all truly deserve it, and you're all absolutely amazing. Love you all. Bye.
Lucy, so deserved. Thank you so much for that message. Let's move on to the second award, the Group Fundraiser of the Year, celebrating the power of community and what happens when a team comes together for someone they care about. This year's award goes to Pete Jackson and his colleagues at West Midlands ADASS. Pete began fundraising for Young Tongues shortly after his diagnosis, even before starting radiotherapy. He told us it gave him purpose during a difficult time. What followed was inspiring. Quietly, his colleagues stepped up, taking on their own small challenges to support him. Together, they raised an incredible £4,057. Pete, your story shows how community can be light in the darkest moments. We're so thankful you and your team chose to shine that light our way. So now let's hear from Pete himself.
Thanks so much for this award. If I'm honest, I'm slightly surprised and humbled by getting an award, because when I was diagnosed with tongue cancer, and I've got the mask from the radiotherapy process to prove it, I was you feel very much on your own. So when I was searching one day on Spotify for podcasts about tongue cancer, I was just blown away when I found Young Tongues broadcasting away, talking about the very thing that I'd got. And I suppose as a support group, much more than a support group, it was a lifeline for me. Community of strength, of humour, honesty and overall resilience. So fundraising for Young Tongues seemed not only a natural thing to do, but it was also a way of my family, friends and workmates being seen to support and help me. People don't often have the words to say what they think when you tell them you've got tongue cancer. So all of them feeling they were contributing to my journey, I think was a really positive thing for me and for them. So the award really belongs to the whole Young Tongues community online, and I know some are able to meet face to face, but it really inspired me to keep going, to be open to talk about the challenges that tongue cancer brings to people, but also to try and turn something painful, and it is painful, into something that was positive. So thanks for the recognition. More importantly, thank you, Young Tongues, for the support, the solidarity and the sense of belonging that you created for me. And as they say, keep on keeping on.
Lovely words there from Pete. Our final award in this trio is the Corporate Fundraiser of the Year. We're honoured to recognise Rita Fagali, whose heart, initiative and generosity have made a real impact. Rita, originally from Lebanon and based in Dubai, reached out after her husband Sai was diagnosed with tongue cancer. Like many, they searched for answers and found us. Rita works at LinkedIn and enrolled us in their corporate giving program. What followed was incredible. Her whole team rallied behind her, raising $1,780 to support our work so far, and that fundraising is ongoing. Tragically, Sai's cancer returned and he passed away late last year. Nonetheless, Rita has continued to support our cause, and I had the privilege of meeting her over Christmas last year. I only wish it had been under different circumstances. Rita remains committed to raising awareness, especially in the Middle East, where support is still very scarce. So let's hear from Rita now.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to say a big thank you to Barbara and the Young Tongues community for the Corporate Fundraiser of the Year award that was presented to LinkedIn MENA offices this year. This award means a lot to me, both personally and professionally. As a social impact lead at LinkedIn MENA, I am very proud of the work we have done to support the mission of Young Tongues, a mission that is very close to my heart. To my colleagues, my teammates, and the management at LinkedIn, a big thank you for giving me the space to support this mission, for your unwavering support, your generosity, and your empathy. This award is yours too. To Barbara, you inspire me every single day in all what you do. And to my late husband, Zahi, you give me a reason to keep going. Thank you so much for everything.
And on those lovely words, we conclude the fundraising awards. Thank you so much to everyone who's fundraised for the Young Tongues. There are so many people. To all of you, thank you so much. Your support means so much to us. So we move on to the second half of today's presentation. But in the second half of Unmuted, we finally get to unveil two projects we've been dreaming about for months. One that will support young people facing tongue cancer right now, and one that will change the life for those diagnosed in the future. Through our Facebook support groups, we've gathered an incredible wealth of insight and lived experience. It's a treasure trove of knowledge, but one that's hard to navigate. The format makes it difficult to search for specific topics, and the emotional intensity of the group can feel overwhelming, especially if you're newly diagnosed. I'm absolutely thrilled to share that we're building a brand new Young Tongues website featuring a dedicated patient hub, a single searchable home for everything that matters to young tongue cancer patients, all in one place. This won't just be another website that generalizes cancer information. It will be tailored to your timeline with clear pathways depending on where you are in your journey, whether you have an ulcer that just isn't healing, you're newly diagnosed, currently in treatment, healing afterwards, or living beyond cancer, or navigating life with chronic tongue cancer. Everything will be written by patients first in relatable plain language, grounded in lived experience, and then reviewed by clinicians to make sure it's medically sound and trustworthy. And we're not glossing over the hard stuff. We'll cover everything from how to push for a referral to coping with radiation, managing long-term side effects, planning a family, and yes, even dating with half a tongue. This is about making space for all of it, the clinical and the deeply human. Now, this is where you come in. Patients and carers, you've lived what others are just about to go through. And clinicians, your expertise ensures our content is not just relatable, but safe. Researchers, you can bridge the gap between science and real life, helping translate complex ideas into clear, empowering knowledge. Together, we can build something that truly supports and informs every step of the way. So grab your phones, scan the QR code and register your interest now. If you can't scan, don't worry, we'll email the link after the event as well. There'll be hundreds of micro topics to choose from. Whether you write a paragraph or a full section, your voice could be what helps a newly diagnosed 20-year-old something feel less alone at 2 a.m. And to the clinicians and researchers here, your support tonight strengthens our grant bids. Funders notice when a project already has community backing. So that's project one. Now, before we get into project two, I'll hand over to Laura to hand over the next award.
Now, I am really excited about this. So it is time for a very special award. One that fits to the heart of the whole assumption as a charity. As many of you know, Lantern is a small and grassroots organisation that don't have a big team or fancy office, but they do have a mighty community. Full of people who give their time, energy and talent to help us grow and to support others. Volunteers are the lifeblood of Lantern, whether it's offering guidance in the group chat, illustrating articles, creating social media content, or sharing stories. Every single act of contribution helps someone else feel seen, heard, and less alone. They are endlessly grateful to everyone who has raised their hands to help this year. So today, we're going to shine a spotlight on one volunteer who has done above and beyond. The volunteer of the year award goes to a very special Lantern from Canada, our very own Stephen Bidwell. Stephen is not only a warm and uplifting presence in our community, but he is also someone who has walked a truly difficult path. As an actor and performer, Stephen has faced multiple cancer diagnoses since his 20s. And spiritual his remains generous, open, and committed to helping others. Earlier this year, Stephen posted a series of videos sharing the speech rehabilitation exercises that helped him regain his voice and confidence after treatment. I've seen them that Wilson. His videos are thoughtful, informative, and have already helped so many in our groups. And in Sue Stephen's style, he's already promised to create a second series soon, so do tune in. Stephen thank you for using your voice, quite literally, to help others find theirs. So let's hear from Stephen now after receiving his award.
This is really lovely. Hi, everyone. When Barbara let me know that I was going to be winning this Volunteer of the Year award, I was really touched. It's very nice to be recognized, and not something that I was looking for at all. But it is really touching, and I do appreciate that. You know, Young Tongues came into my life at a time that I was really emotional, at loss. This was another recurrence. I was tired of it. And like Barbara, when she first started the organization, I didn't know anyone who had experienced tongue cancer before. And certainly I didn't know anyone who had experienced tongue cancer within my age group. I mean, this has been a long time. I've been dealing with this by myself. So I want to thank Barbara for starting Young Tongues. I want to thank Jamie for introducing me to the group because I didn't know it existed. I want to thank all of you for being so supportive of my efforts to create videos and to share the message. And I really just want to thank you all for not only the support that you've given me in terms of giving answers, but along the way, but also in terms of giving me support now as I'm further along and have questions. No one has all the answers, and I feel like the 800 or so of us that are here are really there to support one another, and I appreciate that. So I appreciate that love, that support. I think that it's fantastic that we're there to support one another, and I hope that everyone continues to do that, stay positive, shine, and move forward with great things. Thanks so much. I gotta go. This is 2 minutes now. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Stephen. We couldn't operate without volunteers. I mentioned that there was another project, and I would like to introduce you to that now. Young people with tongue cancer live through a double silence. Their disease is rare for their age, and the healthcare data that should amplify their experiences often groups them with older patients under broad categories that masks what really happens to them. This erases the unique challenges our community faces across diagnosis, treatment, and recovery. Until we unmute this reality, young people will continue to receive care misaligned with their age and needs, lack tailored support, and face long-term quality of life challenges that remain unseen and unaddressed. The system simply doesn't reflect what young adults actually go through medically, emotionally, and socially. Countries like the UK, Australia, other European nations, and the USA already maintain strong oncology clinical data sets. But what is missing is a global, longitudinal, patient-reported perspective. Without it, we see delays in progress, underinvestment, and care that often misses the mark. That's the gap we aim to bridge. In our case, that means young people aged 18 to 64 diagnosed with tongue cancer. What doesn't exist yet is data that can follow, say, a 23-year-old patient from misdiagnosis through treatment and into late effects across borders, healthcare systems, and stages of life. Think of Young Tongues today as the voice of this community. Anecdotally, we know what young people with tongue cancer are going through: delayed diagnosis, grueling treatment side effects, life-altering late effects, and a lack of support that truly reflects their age and stage of life. But without robust data to validate these patterns, we see every day in our peer support groups, meaningful change remains frustratingly slow. Now, imagine pressing record, capturing every story, symptom log, and health insight, and turning it into a single trusted home for lived experience of young tongue cancer patients, from diagnosis, treatment, and ongoing side effects, and the broader social impact. The result is access to a growing, consented, global cohort enriched with patient-reported outcomes, also known as PROMs. This unlocks faster study design, smoother trial recruitment, and more efficient ethical approvals. Anonymized data sets and targeted insight briefs will help identify and quantify unmet needs, strengthening business cases and increasing the success rate of grant applications for research. These insights could reveal, for example, the root cause of delayed diagnosis, long-term side effects not yet linked to our current treatment, or the real-world impact on returning to work and the long-term financial burden young patients face. Together, our stories become more than individual experiences. They become evidence. And with that evidence, we can drive real change, change that clinicians, researchers, and policymakers can act on, and that we as a charity can use to better support our community. It also means we can regularly share insights backed with patients, clinicians, and advocates, turning participation into power. So let's zoom out. I've shared the vision. Now let's talk about the plan. Right now, we are a small but determined charity with a growing community of over 800 patients working hard to amplify the patient voice with the limited resources we have. But I think after everything you've seen today, I hope you'll agree we're punching well above our weight. And we're committing to staying bold and ambitious, not just to improve the lives of patients today, but to change the future for those yet to be diagnosed. So let me introduce you to our most ambitious project yet, the Young Tongues Patient Insight Platform. We've consulted with clinicians, researchers, ethic boards, and data technology partners. And while this is undeniably a bold undertaking, we believe it's achievable. More importantly, we believe it's necessary. It's a multi-stakeholder effort designed to address different needs for different groups. For patients, it's about visibility, voice, and shared insight. Knowing their story and data are safeguarded by a patient-led charity committed to driving change in the community's best interest. It's about trust, with the assurance that any benefits gathered will flow back to the very community it serves. For clinicians, It's about access to meaningful data that informs better care, builds the evidence base needed to justify investment in service improvements and truly person-centered aftercare. For researchers, it's about unlocking a richer global cohort to drive more impactful studies. Accessing a growing consented population enriched with patient-reported outcomes, again, this word PROMs, this enables faster study setup, streamlined trial recruitment, and stronger evidence to support funding applications. Most importantly, it helps answer key questions that matter to our community, revealing patterns, unmet needs, and opportunities for innovation. And these insights gained could lead to earlier diagnosis, more effective and kinder treatments, and a deeper understanding of the long-term impacts on quality of life. This is a project rooted in global collaboration, bringing together leading academic institutions, clinicians, researchers, patients, and advocates to tackle the complex, interconnected challenges of tongue cancer in young people. Together, we're building not just a platform, but a coalition with shared purpose and the commitment to real-world change. This platform is designed to bridge the gap between patients and the research community, with the potential to drive clinical practice, improve health outcomes, and enhance long-term socio-economic quality of life for young people by tongue cancer. Before I map out our next step, I want to pause and acknowledge the many people who are already helping to turn this vision into something tangible. Researchers and clinicians who freely shared their expertise. Ethics board advisors who steered us through the regulatory maze. And a special thank you to IQVIA. Their team donated pro bono support to shape our data strategy. An extraordinary gift for a young charity like ours. This is a big project with big, big ambitions. So we're breaking it into manageable, fundable steps. So allow me to introduce you to our roadmap. Stage 1 is co-design. This stage is all about listening, alignment, and building a strong foundation. We'll host co-design workshops with patients, clinicians, and other stakeholders to define priorities, scope of the project, and develop the business case. We'll also begin collecting patient pledges to help quantify interest. This phase will take around 3 to 6 months and will require an estimated £15,000 to £20,000 in seed funding to get the project off the ground. Stage 2 is the build. We'll move into technical delivery, choosing the platform, preparing for ethics approval, and building version 1 of the patient insight platform. This initial version will include login functionality, consent processing, and basic data capture. We expect this stage to take around 6 to 9 months, with a funding need of between £30,000 and £70,000, depending on the scope we agree upon during the co-design phase. Stage 3 is activate. This is where we start putting together the platform to work. Recruiting and onboarding our first 100 patients, providing support and publishing our first wave of insights. We estimate this stage will take around 6 months and require £20,000 to £30,000 to deliver effectively. And stage 4 is sustain. In this ongoing phase, this forever phase, we'll focus on expanding the platform's features, formalizing data governance for research use, and developing links with academia and industry partners. To sustain and grow this stage, we anticipate an annual need of between £40,000 to £70,000, depending on how the platform evolves. Step by step, milestone by milestone, we will turn this ambitious idea into a living, breathing resource, which will benefit young tongue cancer patients worldwide. But we're at the very beginning of this journey, and we need you to make it happen. So, my fellow young tongues, by pledging your support today, you won't just stay informed about the development of this project or be the first in line to take part, you'll also help us prove something powerful, that our community is engaged, active, and ready to be heard. That proof is invaluable when we apply for funding to make this platform a reality. So scan the QR code now to pledge your support. Of course, we'll also email you the link. You'll also have the chance to express your interest in helping shape the project, whether by joining our steering group or participating in the upcoming workshops. That's all available on the form for this QR code. And now we're calling on our fabulous clinicians and researchers on this call today. We are calling on forward-thinking clinicians and researchers worldwide to join us, not just as end users, but as co-creators. Our ambition is to build a global coalition of leading institutions dedicated to advancing research and best care for young tongue cancer patients. Scan the QR code now to register your interest. No commitment required. I'll be in touch later this year to arrange a call where we can share the roadmap, answer your questions, and most importantly, hear your ideas for shaping the platform together. Let's unmute the data, unmute the science, and above all, unmute every young person who has ever whispered, I just want to be heard. I'm now going to hand over to our trustee, Susan, who will present our next award.
Thank you, Barbara. Now it's time to present an award that really reflects on something truly special. It's the Impact of the Year Award. This award goes out to a member of our community who had a significant and lasting impact on others through raising awareness, changing perceptions, and really opening doors for connection and understanding. This year, that impact came in the shape of a powerful, personal, and very brave video that captured the attention of people around the world. I'm delighted to present this year's Impact of the Year Award to Imogen Brooks. Imogen created a video documenting her speech progress after undergoing a radical glossectomy and radiation therapy, showing not only the physical journey, but the resilience, vulnerability, and honesty that defines our community at its best. Her video, which we shared across Instagram, went viral, and as of today was seen by more than 895,000 people, with over 100 truly heartfelt comments from individuals who are moved, inspired, and also educated by what she shared. But that impact doesn't stop with just the post. Her post led to a surge in new followers discovering and joining Young Tongues, and most importantly, that wave of new patients has found this community, people who might otherwise have continued to feel isolated or alone. Imogen, thank you for helping so many young people realize that they are not alone and for showing the world what life with tongue cancer really looks like. You've made more of a difference than you know. Let's take a moment to celebrate Imogen's impact. We'll see a video that started it all, and then it will be followed by a message that Imogen has sent to us after receiving her award.
This is what my voice sounds like after 3.5 weeks. Hello, this is my voice 2 weeks after radiotherapy. Hello, this is my voice 1 year and 4 months after surgery. Wow, thank you so much for this award. I'm so honoured. I never thought this many people would see that video. When I woke up from surgery, I assumed the worst. In horror movies, when characters lose their tongues, they never speak again. You can't even hear how surprised I was in that first video. And so originally, those videos were just me recording my progress. I thought my life was ruined back then, and Young Tongues has changed that for me. Suddenly, I was able to see how people were eating, hear how they sound as they spoke, and hear about your amazing, ordinary lives post-cancer. I wouldn't have the quality of life that I have now without young tongues tools, without the support, and without the hope that you gave me. So I'm so happy that that video has resonated with so many people, that it has raised awareness, that it has helped people find support, and that it has shown that we can speak, we can be understood, and we can be so much more than side character number 3. So thank you for the Impact of the Year Award, and thank you, Young Tongues, for everything that you do.
Wow. What an incredible video, and thank you so much to Imogen. So we're coming to the last part before we do some more Q&A. So I am going to share my screen again. Earlier, we spoke about volunteering, about turning lived experience into practical help for the next person in line. Now I'd like to talk about the other fuel that keeps Young Tongues alive and growing, fundraising. In just 4 years, we've grown from a Zoom call to a global community that patients, carers, clinicians, and researchers recognize and rely on. But let's be real. We have no state funding. We have no wealthy benefactors. We run on passion, community donations, and the occasional grant. Right now, it costs about £45,000 a year just to stand still. No extras, no new projects, simply to keep the wheels turning, the support groups going, the podcasts, the meetups, the advocacy. Hannah shared our ambitious and necessary target of £60,000 for this financial year. That figure would let us operate sustainably and take the first steps towards growth. Today, every email, every graphic, every webinar is produced by one very determined founder, me. So imagine what we could do if we had a small team. More workshops with clinicians and researchers, quicker rollout of the Patient Hub and Insight platform that we announced today. That future is in this room and on this live stream. You can help by making a donation, one-off or monthly. You can scan the QR code on this slide or use the link we'll send after the event. A quick note to UK donors, please, please, please tick gift aid, as it adds an extra 25% at no extra costs. And to our US friends, you can pledge today by registering your details, and we'll email you as soon as our 501c3 partner is live, so your gift is also tax deductible. We are working on that, and we are also working on getting us finally onto Facebook Meta. Rita showed us what was possible. One employee, one idea, real impact. When her husband Sahi was diagnosed with tongue cancer, Rita found Young Tongues and enrolled us in LinkedIn corporate giving scheme. So could your workplace be next? Many companies offer match donations, charity of the year schemes, or payroll giving. You could be the spark that brings Young Tongues to your organization. And finally, become a fundraising hero. Turn whatever fires you up into real help for young tongue cancer patients. There are no limits. Maybe your victory is a daily walk to the lamppost, or you're eyeing up an ultra marathon. Perhaps you'd rather host a quiz, a bake sale, or a cocktail evening, or swap birthday gifts for donations. Every pound and every story pushes us closer to that 60K target. Need inspiration? Look at the screen. We have Jessica, who laced up her running shoes and took on the Manchester Marathon. We have Kate and her son Luca, who took on a dawn ascent of Snowdon, watching the sunrise spill over Wales. We have Imogen and Chloe, who turned up to the Mouth Cancer Awareness Walk to rally for us. And Mus, who celebrated his 40th birthday with a gala party in style and swapped presents for donations and lighting up the room. Big, small, daring, or delicious, whatever your dream up becomes hope in action. Tell us your ideas and get in touch with us on info@youngtonguesglobal.com or you guys know how to get hold of me. Just send me a DM and I'll be more than happy to support anything that you wanted. And this brings us to the close for today. Thank you so much for being here. Whether you joined us live or watching back on replay, this has been our very first unmuted impact event. And I don't think I'm alone in saying it's been something truly special. We've shared what we've done. We've shown you where we're going. From the new patient hub to reshaping policy to rewriting how support is delivered and how research is led. Everything we've built and everything we dream of building exists for one reason, because of you. Whether you're a patient, a partner, a clinician, a carer, or a researcher, you're now part of this movement. You are the beating heart of what it means to be unmuted. Help us shape the future by sharing your stories, your skills, your voice, and yes, if you can, your fundraising support. Every single act of generosity moves this mission forward. I hope you leave today not just informed, but inspired, not just proud of what we've done, but ready to be part of what comes next. If you have time to stay, we're now opening the floor for a live Q&A. We'd love to hear your thoughts, answer any of your questions, and keep this conversation going. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. We are Young Tongues, we are unmuted, and we're just getting started. There we go. So I have Susan joining me again for the Q&A. She's been keeping an eye on the chat.
Hello.
Hello.
We have a couple questions, but certainly invite anyone to drop in any of your questions or even comments if you just want to share within the webinar chat. Barbara, I think we had a couple questions about what are the plans for Young Tongues having more of a global impact, given the charity essentially has started in the UK?
Yes, it's a really fair question. I think for this first year, it was very much focusing on learning to walk before we run. And I would say at the moment we are actually still in that phase, especially as I'm still spinning lots of plates. But the idea is, so we're a UK registered charity, which actually works out as in our interest in terms of there's a lot of grants available in the UK. I think in the long term, we're not adverse to also registering maybe in a couple of other countries and have like satellite offices, if we can call it that. But more importantly, to bring in a bigger team of people who can function regionally in the same way of the things that I do in the UK. The only reason we do a lot in the UK is because I live in the UK, so it's easy for me to attend events and have those relationships. But I wouldn't be able by myself to replicate that in the US, in Europe, in Australia. So my call to action would be to people listening in, if you are interested in representing Young Tongues locally, especially in the policy change arena, then do please get in touch. Do give me a bit of time. I might not be able to reply to the email straight away, and I might have to gather my thoughts of how we're going to coordinate this. But I do want especially Young Tongues to represent Young Tongues in their region and to take action. But we'll have to do that in a coordinated way. And also we have to make sure that everything we do is in line with our vision and mission and values as well, which sometimes, politics can be difficult to navigate, especially in the world we live now. So I do want to open that door and those opportunities. The other big global aspect, I guess, is the patient insight platform, because the whole point of it is for it to be global. So we know we have lots of patients in the US, but we also actually have a really big cohort in Australia, and we've got some scattering over Europe, which is probably to do with the language. But we also have, when I saw someone's here from Singapore, and we have quite a few Young Tongues from Asia and India. So as a group, we are global, but I really want to bring the the experiences together, because I think that would be really impactful for researchers. Because one of the feedbacks I've been getting from researchers is, oh, the studies they're doing is like with 20 people. And then it's usually all oral cancers, which is absolutely fine and needed. But quite often in those groups, the diversity in terms of having younger people represented aren't there. So I felt there is actually a need to really focus on our section of patient population of young people, especially as anecdotally, I think we are a growing patient population. There's been one piece of research from Australia, which is now also about 12 years old, but that reported a 385% increase in young women under 45 being diagnosed with tongue cancer. I've not been able to find that data anywhere, and it seems mad that I can't, like, we as a community, we can't even tell you how many young tongue cancer patients there are in the UK, let alone in other countries. So yeah, thank you. I hope that was I hope that's a good answer.
I think so. We've had a couple questions asking, where can I get a Young Tongues t-shirt?
Well, if you fundraise for us, we gift you one. So you have to do something for it. So yes, for now, the Young Tongues t-shirts are reserved for people who are fundraising. However, I know there's been like chat about having swag, and I would love a branded water bottle and other things. I have looked into it, and turns out that's incredibly complicated. And even though you can easily set it up, it actually costs us quite a bit, and it doesn't make any money. So for now, the sort of personalized swag is on a long list of things to do, and we'll get to it one day. And we'll probably need like Susan to start packing her garage for the US customers, and I'm packing up my garage for everyone in the UK, with customs and tariffs and stuff. So yeah, I see, I've mentioned the word tariffs already. We said we weren't going to mention it, but yeah, it is more complicated, unfortunately. But yes, if you want to fundraise for us, you will most definitely get one of those cool t-shirts.
Awesome. I think that's it for questions, unless anybody else has a question.
I can see my husband has just asked garage. Yeah, we don't have a garage. It will be the spare room. Amazing. Well, in that case,
thank you.
If you have any more questions or anyone, please feel free. You can always DM me, email me. Do bear with me. I try to reply as much as I can, as quick as I can, but it always takes a bit of time. So, oh, okay, I just saw, Susan, we got a question from Steph. I'm just going to read it out. There's massive heterogenetics in this group that researchers should absolutely be excited about, and the platform should help. Yeah, absolutely. Not a question, a statement. Okay, amazing. On that note, we have come to an end. I want to say thank you so much to all of you for showing up today and every day. And this recording will be available on YouTube and our social medias as well, and we will obviously recycle and reshare all of this. So you can rewatch this, but you can also, more importantly, share the link of this recording with everyone you know. And we are just really grateful for you being here today and joining in. So on that note, I am going to say thank you so much. Have a lovely Sunday, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.